I'm Michael Scott. I'm the director of the Eastern Shore Regional GIS Cooperative and the interim dean of the Henson School of Science and Technology. We are at the ribbon cutting of the Eastern Shore Regional GIS Cooperative space here in downtown Salisbury. We do work in what's called GIS, so it's Geographic Information Systems, essentially mapping and data visualization. We work primarily with towns, counties, other governments, nonprofits, businesses on the Eastern Shore to help provide them with mapping services that they probably couldn't afford to do on their own.
I oversee the day-to-day operations of the cooperative, making sure that our projects are assigned appropriately, heading up team meetings, also quality control as projects move out of here and into the hands of our clients. And I also take care of all of the invoicing and contracting work. I think that our clients come to us because we have a proven track record of putting out very high quality projects and data. We spare no expense when it comes to creating quality data for our clients. A lot of times projects may run over. We do not charge additional fees for that. We are really committed to the outcome and putting quality information in the hands of those that need it.
And it's all sorts of information, from the locations of sewer lines to where can you get broadband information to trails and roads to flooding areas to remapping the Chesapeake Bay critical area. All sorts of data for all sorts of types of applications. We help develop the data that then those governments or those businesses use to improve their processes.
The general consensus, I feel, is that we are well respected within the state and in the surrounding region. We are very visible. We attend conferences and are very out with our clients, helping on the ground.
We are sort of a behind-the-scenes sort of thing, right? We prefer not to be kind of out in front with a lot of these things. We've been doing this for 14 years. We have nearly like 200 projects that we've done for all sorts of different kinds of businesses and governments. Most people will have bumped into our stuff at one point or another. You just wouldn't have known it was us. A lot of the things we do can end up being somewhat controversial. So, but we're the data people, right? So we are trying to work very hard to make sure that we don't put any of our own spin on anything. We are very data driven, and then it's up to policymakers to then take that and use whatever that data to do sort of whatever they're going to do with it.
I think there was some resistance when we first started, mostly from the private sector, thinking that we would perhaps come in and be taking work away from the private sector. However, that's never been our philosophy. We do not go after work or grants or proposals independently in competition with the private industry. Rather, we prefer to work collaboratively, and we have been doing that in recent years, and it has been an excellent experience, I think, not only for the private industry, but for us to learn how they're executing projects like this.
I love ESRJC because it's an acronym within an acronym, right? So it's the Eastern Shore Regional GIS Cooperative, and GIS, of course, is Geographic Information Systems. And so they are the people who make maps. They make maps of everything. They make maps of workforce, they make maps of utilities and broadband connectivity and all sorts of things. And those maps help people make decisions, important decisions.
We have 10 full-time staff that are professional GIS technicians, analysts, programmers. They are all 100% are Salisbury University alums, and we prefer that because we know we've trained them ourselves. So we know they know what they're doing. We know that they are extremely capable, and more importantly, they're bought into the service mission of the SRJC, right? We don't want to be a consulting firm. We don't want to be just offering services for profits. We are here to serve the citizens of Maryland through their, businesses and governments. And so people have to really buy into that as part of the ethic of what we do here at the SRJC, and that's important to us. They have to be technically competent, obviously, but they also do have to have a bit of a bigger picture. If they're just focused on the computer screen, it doesn't do us any good. So they need to be thinking a bit more community-minded in order to really be successful here. And the ones that have transitioned from interns to technicians into full-blown staff, those are the ones that we keep really have that community mindset. There's often a gap, obviously, between someone who is, say, getting their degree at Salisbury University and the work experience that they need in order to begin their work in the workplace. So the SRJC is really a workforce development center as well. So we have students come to work for us as interns. They cut their teeth, they learn how to do their craft in mapping, and then they'll often leave us soon after that, but then they are ready to go to work for businesses and governments all across the state of Maryland and Mid-Atlantic. We've had nearly 150 of them come through the SRJC in the last 14 years. We have dozens of partners that help us do this. And the partnership between the Tri-County Council, the Lower Eastern Shore of Maryland, and the Mid-Shore Regional Council, they helped fund the cooperative from the very beginning and have been partners with us from the very beginning. Without them, none of this would be possible.
It's been a real treat to work with them, and I think that the general consensus now is that we can help our constituency with their projects, and but with the professional side, the private side as well. Basically, we're able to work together and pass along savings to our local jurisdictions.
What you should take away is that ESRGC stands for partnership. And this could not be possible without lots and lots of partnerships. I think Mike mentioned that the Tri-County Regional Council of the Lower Eastern Shore and the Mid-Shore Regional Council were partners in establishing ESRGC in the first place.
The computer component of it has changed tremendously in the last 14 years about, for example, being able to evaluate photographs and pull out building footprints or roads instead of leaning on a human to be able to identify those things. We can actually have the computer help us go through and figure out what's a building or what's a road or what's a tree. It makes our mapping more accurate, ends up making the data more accurate, which then ends up in the long run making policy more accurate. So that's a positive.
The future looks really bright for the ESRGC. I'm very excited to be a part of this team, always have been. We continue to grow as a group, increasing our capabilities. We've just added a drone to our services. So we continue to grow. I'm very excited to continue to incorporate student interns in the work that we do. I think it is an invaluable experience for them. It's also, I think, very helpful for us to stay in touch with what's being taught in the classroom, and being available to sort of add some value added to their experience. I know I benefited from that as an undergraduate and graduate, and I want to continue to pass that on to the students that are coming out of the university.
You can see a number of different things. One is we're getting geared up on a lot of drone work. So being able to fly aerial photography, for example, for just one particular project, we don't have to wait for like the state to fly the entire state's worth of aerial photos. That's a big deal. New sensors are coming so that we can do, for example, thermal imaging, hyperspectral imaging from those drones. That's going to be a major deal. And then almost assuredly the virtual reality three-dimensional mapping is something that still is in its infancy. We're going to be moving forward very quickly into a lot of that. We know the elevation of every 2 meter square for the entire state of Maryland, right? And so, right, every pixel that's to 2 meters by 2 meters, we have a value of elevation for that. That is the kind of data that is now available that allows us to unlock all sorts of things, like where is it going to flood? Or if we have a hazardous waste spill, which direction is that hazardous waste going to run? So we put up the booms in the right place to keep it from happening. Without that base data, it'd be very difficult for us to do our job. The difference is that with the ESRGC, we were able to advocate for the collection of that data, and we were able to speak with one voice from the Eastern Shore about how important it was for them to collect that data over here just as much as it is in the well-resourced areas on the other side of the bay. This is what I wanted to accomplish when I started the ESRGC in the first place. A major piece of the mission of Salisbury University is public service. And so when you think about how can I help accomplish that mission, mapping and data visualization is what I do. So how do I take that thing that I know how to do and help serve the citizens of Maryland, particularly the folks of Maryland's Eastern Shore? And that turned out to be the ESRGC. We're fairly unique.